So today we're going to talk about the percent of change. And so you're going to notice up here on the board I have a formula. It would probably be good for you to write that down just so you know how to calculate the percent of change. The percent of change is defined as the change in an amount divided by the original amount times 100. The change in an amount divided by the original amount times 100. Now this is a little different than what the book has. The book doesn't have times 100. We're taking it times 100 so that it is in percent form right away. Now, believe it or not, this is something that you could actually use. This is something you could actually use like when you were going shopping. Okay, if they had something on like an 80% off rack. And that's actually what I do quite a bit. So let's go and look at a problem. Okay, determine whether each percent of change is a percent of increase or a percent of decrease. Then find the percent of change. So if we look here, I've got the original amount and I've got the final amount. So first of all, is that going to be a percent of increase or decrease?
Increase.
Increase, obviously, because it goes up. So we know that this is a percent of increase. Now what I need to do is I need to go ahead and use the formula. And so the formula, if you remember, there we go. The formula is change in an amount divided by the original amount times 100. So how much have I changed? 3. I'm going to divide that by the original amount, which is 20, and I'm going to take that times 100. And so go ahead and do that. 3 divided by 20 times 100. And what do I get my percent of change to be? 15%. So this is a 15% increase. Okay, let's look at another one. Determine whether each is percent of change, same instructions. So is this a percent of increase or a percent of decrease? It's a percent of decrease. And so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and use the formula. Formula states change in an amount divided by the original amount times 100. So how much have I changed?
-8.
8. Okay. Now we don't need to put the negative in because we're already saying it's a decrease. So change in the amount 25 to 17 is 8 divided by the original amount, which is 25. And I'm going to go ahead and take that times 100. And what is your percent of decrease? 30.
32%.
It's 32.
I think I got 32%.
No.
Now, when we take it times 100, it actually puts it in percent form, so all I have to do is label that with a percent sign. So now it's your turn. Here you go. There's the original, there is the new. You need to find the percent of, in this case, decrease. Percent of decrease.
Oh wait, do we have to put a percent sign on it?
No. You do not put a percent sign, just put the number.
All we have is such a short list today.
What?
Margaret, Jeff, and Arthur.
Yeah, because Clay's actually on it without stretching it out.
That could be offensive in some ways.
Just say it, Aaron.
Alrighty. No, you don't need to put a percent sign. And the answer is 25. Nice job.
Yeah.
Because what you should have done is 15 divided by 60 times 100. So let's go ahead and see how you do on this one. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Here's our original. There's our new. Now, I want you to just answer the percent. Okay, so just the percent.
Just round it.
just percent, so no decimals if you've got one, just a percent.
Where's been, how do you put in that?
Just enter the percent, don't worry about the decimals. So let's see how we did. 33%, nice job. Okay. So 48 minus 32 is 16, so you should have had 16 divided by 48 times 100. All right, so the next one, a recent percent of increase in tuition at a university was 5.4%. So they're telling us our final answer was 5.4%. If the new cost is, oops, sorry, that should have been is. Okay. 33,408 per year. Find the original cost per year. So if you remember, the formula was the change in the amount, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the change in the amount would be 33,408 minus my original amount, right?
Yeah.
So we'll call that A. Isn't that the change? That would be how much it changed? And then I'm going to divide that by A, because that's my original amount. Now together, when I calculate that, that's going to give me 5.4%.
Don't you have to multiply it by 100?
Okay? Now, well, that's a, that, I was just going to take that into account. Okay? And so if you notice that is my percent, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take into account that 100, and I'm going to actually change this to 0.054. Okay? As Clay said, he was saying, could we take this times 100 and then that would equal 5.4%? Yeah, you could, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make that equal to 0.054 from the start, which is 5.4%. And so then now, if I've got 0.054, in order to solve this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write this as a fraction. And what did we do from yesterday? How do you do that? Cross multiply. So in this case, I've got 1 times 33,408 minus A. And then that's going to equal what times what?
A times
Yep.
0.05.
So 0.054 A. Now what I need to do is get the A's on one side of the equation, so I'm going to go ahead and add A here, because how many A's is that? 1A. So on the left side, I end up having 33,408. On the right side, I have 0.054 plus 1, 1.054A. To solve that, what are you going to do?
Divide by 1.
Divide by 1.054. So let's see how much the original tuition was.
31,696.
So 31,696. We could go ahead, since it's money, and round it. Chances are it would probably just be rounded to the nearest dollar. It won't be the cents. But there you go. Original cost per year. Now anymore, that's pretty realistic for cost for a university. Now when I went to school, it was roughly half of that at a private university. So it's changed a lot. Okay, so, oops, there you go. A new DVD costs $24.99. If the sales tax is 6.8%, 6.85%, what is the total cost? So I want you to tell me, what would you pay for that DVD in a store? Okay? So think about that problem. What would you pay for that DVD if the sales tax is 6.85%? am gonna give you roughly another minute. Okay, to tell me what the total cost is that you would pay. Ah, 26.70. So let's go ahead and go through this. Okay, now first of all, let's think about realistic stuff here. Okay, $24.99 was the DVD. So realistically, it probably won't be realistic that we're going to pay less than $24.99. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this. 6.85%. So first of all, what they're going to do is they'll always have this on your bill. They're always going to say you've got $24.99. Okay, then what they're going to do is they'll do a line for tax. Now how you calculate tax is you're going to take whatever your taxable amount is, $24.99, and you're going to take that times 6.85%. Now if you're doing this calculation on your calculator, 6.85% is what as a decimal? 0.0685. So go ahead and calculate that for me. Take 24.99 times 0.0685. And what do you get?
$1.71.
You get 171, and then it's 1815. Now how tax works is it works with normal rounding. And so in this case, since this one here isn't above a 5, your tax is just going to be $1.71. And so then your final step will be to just go ahead and add those two amounts together. And so when you do that, you end up getting $26.70. Now, for those of you, just for a little bit of trivia, easiest way to do this with one step on your calculator. 24.99 times 1.0685. If you do that, you're going to get $26.70. For those of you wondering why that occurs, the 1 takes the $24.99 and adds it into the tax. So basically, that's just kind of one of those little things. This is your price of your item. This is your tax. Okay, so that's kind of just, like I said, one of those little trivia things. If that confuses you, throw it out. For those of you that like that, that's another thought for you. So let's go ahead and look at this. A picture frame, originally priced at $14.89, is on sale for 40% off. What is the discounted price? So first of all, okay, what I need to do is I need to start with 14.89. That is how much the picture frame is, right? And this is just like the sales tax problem. Now I've got to figure out how much is it off. So here's my discount. What I'm going to go ahead and do is take 14.89 times 40%, but what's 40% as a decimal? 0.40. So on your calculator, I need you to calculate for me. What is 1489 times 0.40? What'd you get? 5.956. Remember how the rounding works? And so in this case, the discount would actually be $5.96. Now what I need to do is subtract the two. And I get a total of $8 and what? 93 cents. So that's the discounted item. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little trick I use when I go shopping. Okay, because I'll see this and I'll see the 40% off and I'll be like, oh crud, what is that going to be? And I try and do the math in my head. So this is what I would do. I would say that $14.89 is close to 15, right? Okay. If it's 40% off, that really means that it's realistically 60% of the total. That's how much you're going to pay. So in my head, I would do this. 15 times 0.6. So if you think about that, if you do that in your head, 6 15s, what is 6 15s? 9. Nice job. Look at how close that is. So that's kind of one of those things, if you ever see that. So if it said it was on sale for 60% off, what would you use for your calculation in your head? 0.4. If it was on sale for 80% off, you would use 0.2. So see how you can kind of do those little things in your head? My mom always brings me along because then I usually do that for her. So anyway, here's your assignment for tomorrow. 14 through 42, the evens. Okay, 14 through 42, the evens.